You say you're a huge Led Zeppelin fan.
Oh, yeah.
You got to play with Jason Bonham.
Right.
Now,
yes.
John Bonham, his dad, was famously in Led Zeppelin, but you got to play with Jason.
Yes.
So how did this come about?
Hello, everybody. I'm Clark Crosser, MC Clark Crosser, by the way. And here we are at Soon to Be Legends. And Byron Stankus is the host. Take it away, Byron.
Yeah, you bet, Clark. How you doing?
How was that for energy?
Oh, that's good. I appreciate it. Well, the soon-to-be legends. Maybe we'll come up with something a little bit later. But we are here for another episode of Soon-to-be Legends, powered by LDR Studios. We are at the lovely LDR Studios, and we are talking with Doug Henthorn. Doug Henthorn is a musician, and this is our music of the month. Doug Henthorn, as among other things, has played guitar and played music with Jason Bonham and others, and has just released an album himself, his third album, interestingly named 3.
I know. I put a lot of thought into that album title.
Okay, good. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But you wanted to get like one ahead of Huey Lewis and 4,
yes,
right? So anyway,
Yeah.
Doug, welcome.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Doug, done a little bit of a background on you. You have been in bands for quite a while. You're in and out. You're now doing solo stuff.
Yes.
What we just talked about is your third solo album.
Third solo record.
And before that, you were with a band called the Healing Sixes.
Yep.
And that played in the early 2000s, in and out, and that sort of stuff. And we'll get through some of that. Cool. So where would you like to start?
Well, I don't know. I think probably the new album I just dropped.
Oh, let's finish with that.
Oh, let's do that.
Let's finish with that because you're going to play some of that for us, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, then we can start back at the beginning or
Old school stuff.
Old school. Let's start at the beginning. You were a fetus. And you came out with the guitar?
Yeah, I don't remember it. But
okay.
Yes. No, I did.
There was this bright light. You're like, oh,
I followed the light.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you followed the light that led you to music.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a story that I tell, probably too much, but I'd like me and my older brother went to the Waynetown Fish Fry, which, if you know where Waynetown is.
Where is Waynetown?
It's kind of around Crawfordsville, which is where
Crawfordsville,
I was born and
Indiana.
grew up.
You grew up around there. Okay, so you were from the Indianapolis area.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And,
because we have fans all over the world.
Which is great. And I'm sure everyone all over the world knows about the Waynetown Fish Fry.
Correct. The fish fry.
Everybody. The fish fry in Waynetown. Anyway, there were some carnies playing some music while we were on some death trap, me and my older brother, and I was probably 8, and I just remember like kind of scared by the music that was coming out of this jam box.
Really?
Playing. Yes.
Okay.
And
like a big boom box.
Yeah, back in the day, and as it turns out, it was Aerosmith's first record, featuring Dream On.
Was that the 80s or before?
This would have been
late 70s, right?
In the 70s, late 70s. Well, I mean, that record came out, I think, in 73. So I bet it was like 74, 75.
Well, you could do math from when you were born. We don't have to necessarily say how old you are.
Don't make me do math.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's why you do music, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, ask any musician buddy that plays with me. When it comes to the end of the night and everybody has to get paid, I'm the worst at math.
Oh,
everyone's like,
well, hey, Clark, we need to hire him more.
Yeah, in fact, my buddy Tim's like, just give me the money. I'll
okay, so you were on a death trap.
Yep, on a death trap.
Listening
Dream
On.
Yeah, featuring Dream On. Okay. Anyway, so that's kind of when I got the bug about music.
Because it scared you.
Because it scared me. It was something like up until that point in time, I had was listening to AM radio, like WLS. Remember? WLS.
Yeah, no.
So you like Everclear on the AM radio. AM. Oh, am I going to get
was
copyrighted?
Was FM even invented back then?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
How old is this Clark? You got way more gray hair than he does.
No, I'm older than you guys, I guarantee.
We don't have to lay a wager on that. That's fine.
That's cool. But yeah, and so that's when I got the bug because up until that point in time, I was listening to whatever was on AM radio. Billy, Don't Be a Hero, and the Beach Boys and stuff like that, which I love the Beach Boys.
Sure,
stuff,
yeah.
Anyway,
did you like the Survivors?
The Survivors?
Yeah, did you know the Beach Boys released an album with not the name the Beach Boys, the Survivors, just to see if it was their sound or it was their marketing? It was their marketing. Anyway, I don't know why I know this.
That's good to know, though.
Somebody's going to Google that up.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's false. But
I know there is there is one Beach Boys record that I listen to that but it's not called The Survivors. It's called something else, but I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know.
Anyway, but I believe it.
I
believe it because I've seen it.
It's interesting stuff. I don't know why that comes into my head.
No,
I have some sort of like ADD thing. I don't know.
It was their marketing.
But it was fun stuff. Anyway, so that's what you were listening to. Then they bring along Aerosmith.
Yeah, that's when I got the bug, and then I wanted to play guitar. You know,
sure.
And so convinced my folks to get me a guitar for Christmas. I think I was 11.
Nice.
And that's when it started. And
so did you just teach yourself?
It's another good story, I think. I like most folks, here's a guitar for Christmas, but it came with a caveat, and that caveat is you're going to have to take lessons. You can't just have it in your room, you know. And so I'm like, okay, great. And so luckily for me, they set me up with a friend of theirs, Phyllis. Phyllis. And she was probably, I'm just guessing, she's probably mid-20s, you know.
And you were 11?
And I was 11.
Oh, you definitely practiced.
Completely crushing on Phyllis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
I've never met Phyllis, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
She comes to my gigs still.
Does she still?
Yeah, I did. I had a gig at the Jazz Kitchen a few weeks ago. She was there. But anyway, so that was great. It all worked out. I was very happy to practice and go to the lessons and stuff. And so that's how it started. And then, then Phyllis didn't know that much about guitar. She just knew, the
chords,
basics, cowboy chords and stuff. And so we did that, and then
cowboy chords.
That's G, C, and D. Yeah, that's what people call them.
Really?
G, C, D.
Okay.
Yeah, cowboy.
Yeah, I don't know. I played guitar just enough to realize I shouldn't do it. So
you should stick with it, man.
I have a rhythm issue. Like I had to play timpani drums in the orchestra.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was because I wasn't good enough at trumpet that they moved me. And before that, I played viola. I don't know. Does anybody care about that?
No,
you don't care. You're the musician.
I think it's important that everybody should try to play something.
No, I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I think music's an important part of a holistic education, around education. Because as much as you're bad with math, there's some subconscious math in all of music that I think helps everybody. So,
I suppose.
I don't know. Is that too philosophical?
No, I think you're right. I think there is math, that I just don't think my brain realizes that it is math.
No, because you feel it instead of think it. And that's why your music's so good.
Maybe that's
honestly.
Maybe that's you might be onto something.
No, because I have a belief about this stuff, and I think there's a difference between people who think about what they play and they mechanically play it, and then there's the people that feel it, and you can hear the difference. I think it's the same with like actors who act versus be, right?
Yes.
And I think with you, clearly, I haven't heard your stuff much because I just found out you were coming in, and
surprise!
I really like it.
Surprise! Guess who's here? It's Doug.
Doug, this is great. This is why we do this show, because we get an opportunity, just us individually, but everybody out there, to find new stuff, find new people, and shine a light on it. Because I'm telling you, this stuff's good. I really like that new album.
Thank you, man. So I'm proud of it.
It's good stuff. We'll keep talking about that because there's some really good tunes on there, and some of the older stuff. It sounds like a little bit of an evolution too.
Yeah, totally. Completely.
I got a whole spiel for that, man. I don't know.
Great.
I did a little research even.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. So you're 11 years old. You're playing with Phyllis. You do a little bit.
And then she teaches me all the cowboy chords she knows, and I move on and really. I just fast forward to I got an electric guitar, and then I started playing in bands in high school. And all that
what was the name of your first band?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. This is for trivia for those who play this soon to be Legends trivia game.
I think at least the first band I can remember the name of was called Epitaph.
Epitaph.
Wait,
was that like
Epitaph?
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
What the hell does that mean?
Really, Clark? Really?
Right.
Here lies Clark.
Yeah. Here
lies Clark.
Yeah.
So Epitaph. So was it like a death metal band or something?
No.
Just
it was
heavy metal?
We're just kids playing cover tunes. So, we're playing whatever we liked at the time, which was junior high school and high school stuff.
Yeah. What was that? A lot of like Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin stuff?
Oh yeah. A lot of Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, which I'm a huge fan. And
Van Halen?
Van Halen, yes, it was the 80s. So Ozzy's first two records.
Okay.
I'd play if they would let me, I would have played anything or everything off of those first two Ozzy Osbourne records. And of course the David Lee Roth era Van Halen, which is can I just say that's the only Van Halen in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. He was the best front man.
I know that music just makes me jump. Are you keeping tally on the bad jokes, Clark?
One bad one.
Sorry,
yeah.
thanks. No, that stuff. I mean, that. Okay, so we're from the same generation, right? I mean, that's the same stuff. The difference was I was listening to it, and you would get to play it.
Trying to play it.
That's okay, man. At least you were doing right. That's awesome, and you evolved, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yes. Although I still, for whatever reason, springtime rolls around, and I break out those two Ozzy records.
Right. Sure.
I think it reminds me of high school.
Yeah.
Going to track practice, like walking to track practice.
So did you run track?
I did.
Nice.
I don't run anymore. My knees.
I run when chased. So,
yes, same here. Yeah.
That's not true. I actually work out.
Do you? Good. Well, we could talk.
No, I don't know.
You had your shirt off earlier.
So what?
Don't tell people that. That's for the OnlyFans. I'm just kidding.
Put money in a slot for the naked Byron.
Right. Yeah.
This has gone very terribly awry.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So
yeah. Oh, we're talking about you.
Let's talk about Doug again.
So, what was your first guitar, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Ooh. My very first guitar was a crappy. Well, no, the one my folks gave me was a nylon string acoustic.
Out of a Sears catalog.
Probably got it from a Sears catalog. Yeah.
But your real, you got to buy a guitar. What was it?
My very first real guitar was a Carvin DC 150, which is not a very. I mean, it's not a great guitar, but it's a solid guitar that I saved up back in the day. I still have it. Actually, that's another cool story. I bought this. It was a mail order thing. You had to order it through mail.
Sure.
And I think it cost me $400 or something. I worked at detasseled corn for 2 years. Solid.
That's a horrible job, right?
Horrible job.
You definitely grew up in Indiana.
Exactly. Anybody that knows anything about detasseling corn.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, but back in the day, I was 13.
Right.
That was my first gig.
Getting up at 4 in the morning.
And you were making
corn.
$3 an hour like that?
Yeah, I think it was probably $3.
I dug a pond for $3.25 an hour. It
sounds just as brutal.
Yeah, and we turned it into like a plake. I don't know. I'm telling stories nobody cares
plake.
about. A plake, yeah.
I've never heard that term.
A plake? Oh, no. It's like, well, you take like an old pond with a stream backed up and everything,
right.
And then we drained it. And then we put sand and concrete at the bottom and then ran filtered water through it and then drained it back into the creek. And then people could swim in there by paying money.
Wow, that's like advanced.
Yes, and waist deep in the muck, sucking this stuff out for $3.25 an hour.
Yeah.
Why is anyone listening to me?
This is
back to rock and roll.
Back to rock and roll. That is not a rock and roll story at all. But detasseling corn, buy yourself a guitar.
Yeah, bought the DC 150, Carvin DC 150, and it was a great guitar. It is a great guitar.
Nice.
And I, years later, short on money, and I sold it to a buddy of mine, and so it was gone. And then, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, Brad, he shows up, and he's like, hey, man, this is your guitar. You just take it back.
Nice.
So, which is really a stand-up maneuver.
That is.
So thanks again, Brad.
That's the fellowship of rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I still have it.
Cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. That's cool. And then
thank you, Brad.
Yeah,
thanks, Brad. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. So after the high school, did you go on to college and learn? Did you just join a band?
I did. I went to Butler, actually.
Okay.
And
Butler University?
I studied business administration, which, for those of you who don't know, that's what people major in when they have no idea what they want to do.
So the guy who earlier said, I have no idea when it comes to being paid what the money situation should be, did business administration.
Exactly. I had to do finance stuff.
Yeah. The Doug Henthorn LLC's in trouble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ledgers. Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. So I did that. I went to Butler.
I have a philosophy degree, so I have no place to talk, so we're good.
That's cool. Yeah, man. And I did get I did study classical guitar while I was at Butler, so that was cool.
Classical gas and stuff like that?
Yeah, did some of that. Cool. But then I got out of school and stayed in Indianapolis.
Did you play in a band in school?
I did. It was kind of a carryover from the high school days.
Nice.
A lot of the same guys.
Excellent.
And but then got out of school. I actually had an interview set up with GE.
Okay.
And but I'd also put my name in on a referral list at a booking agency that isn't here anymore.
That's all right.
And got a call to try out for some cover band that's just going to play around, that plays regularly.
Right.
And got the gig.
Nice.
Blew off the interview with GE.
Right.
My folks were
and you never looked back?
So proud. Yeah.
Never looked back? Just
never
rock and
back.
roll the whole way?
Never looked back. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
You know, and so then I was just in and out of like basically cover bands, but I've always, even in high school, I always wanted to do original material. That's what I always wanted.
Sure. And in these cover bands, were you singing? Were you playing guitar? Were you drums? What?
No, singing's for girls, man. I did not want to sing.
Okay.
So I just played guitar.
Right, but you sing on this album, and I'll tell you, you have a very Joe Walsh sound to you.
Hey, thanks, man.
I mean, you don't talk like Joe Walsh. You don't talk like Joe Walsh. But I mean, like your vocals, like immediately I picked up. I'm like, wait a minute, this could be like an old Eagles stuff.
I like that.
That's super
Appreciate
cool.
That,
yeah,
man.
I mean,
I'm a huge Joe Walsh fan.
Yeah, I mean, your
guitar playing.
Yeah. This new album stuff sounds to me like Southern rock.
Well, that's cool.
I mean, it definitely has that Leonard Skinner, Black Crowes, Little Feat sound with Joe Walsh vibe, with some old Eagles stuff.
Thanks, man.
That's got a great vibe.
I like that stuff. I like all that stuff you just said.
Well, I mean, and you obviously are playing through yourself. Like
well, you know, I think we all end up being products of what we've been influenced with our whole lives. Right. You know, so
it's pretty.
What's the most influential band that?
Led Zeppelin for sure.
Yeah.
By far is the most influential band on me. But I also there's a lot of stuff I just really loved. Like I never really was into country, but later in life I kind of find myself, you know, writing stuff that's a little bit more of a country flavor. It's probably just from growing up in Indiana, you know.
But you say you're a huge Led Zeppelin fan.
Oh, yeah.
And we teased earlier, you got to play with Jason Bonham.
Right.
Now, John Bonham, his dad, was famously in Led Zeppelin, but you got to play with Jason.
Yes.
So how did this come about?
Well, the band that I put together in the early 2000s was a band called Healing Sixes.
Healing Sixes. H6s.
Yeah, right. Wow. And we went out. It was kind of a fun. Well, it wasn't fun. It was brutal. But our manager at the time knew Jason and knew what his schedule was along the East Coast and this band he was playing in, which it was basically, you know, like a Zeppelin tribute band.
Okay.
And he got word as to what dates and where they were playing, and they were just bars along the East Coast.
Sure.
And so Rick, at the time, which is a brilliant move, you know, that he did this. He would call each club, and say, "Hello, this is Rick Hudnall. I'm the manager for Healing Sixes. We're the opening band for Jason Bonham that you've booked at your club. So." Just calling you to get the details as to, you know, when we need to load in and you just kind of like maneuvered us.
That's brilliant.
It was brilliant.
I love that.
And it worked 50% of the time.
50%? Yeah, 50% of the time, it worked every time. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's how we ended up doing that. We got these handful of gigs that we actually fooled them into letting us open.
And what did Bonham think about this?
I don't think he cared.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
No.
Right? Yeah. And he thought he did. And, you know, by the time we got done with that 6 weeks or whatever, he was coming to see us before, you know, like see our shows and hanging out with us.
That's
and
awesome.
Busting our balls because, you know, well, it looks like he couldn't pull one over on the bar last night, you know. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks or something like that. And so
that's brilliant. Now, who was your manager?
Rick Hudnall, and he did a great job.
Somebody's going to track him down because that guy's shady AF, and he can pull that off.
It was a great maneuver.
That is a great maneuver. I love that.
And, but yeah, so by the time we were done with that stint, Jason and I really kind of hit it off, and we'd hang out a lot. And then we all went our separate ways. He went back to England because that's where he lived at the time. He lives here in the States now, but anyway, back then it was around Christmas time. He just called me. And like said, yeah, I'd love to be part of the band. And I was like,
what band?
I know. Band? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you think? Like, help managing this or something? No, play the bloody drums. I'm like, okay, yeah.
So that'd be great. So you told your drummer, hey, guess what, buddy?
Yeah. Which that was not pleasant. That was not pleasant, but it was necessary.
So he literally played in your Healing Sixes band?
Yeah, for like 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Now it was very complicated logistically because he lived in England.
Right.
So we would have to set up, you know, tours. You know, everybody calls them tours. We're just gigs that strung together.
Sure.
And a lot of them were along the East Coast. Some of them we'd go down south. But we'd have to set up these tours.
Right.
And then get Jason on the phone and say, hey, man, we got, you know, this many dates set up fly over, let's rehearse, and then we're just going to go out and do them, and then you can go back home, and everybody goes to something. So that's how it worked. It was a little logistically a nightmare.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to make, when you get a famous name.
Yeah, and that was
work, right?
That was kind of a double-edged sword, of course, you know, because it was great, and I love Jason because he's a great drummer,
right?
And he's also hilarious too. But but like there was a double-edged sword because everywhere we went, all they wanted to hear us do was Zeppelin.
Sure.
Which I'm a huge Zeppelin fan, but man, that's not what we're doing this for. We're trying to
your own stuff,
do our
right?
own stuff.
Right.
You know? So we'd always have to pepper in a bunch of Zeppelin.
Yeah, so it's like two for us, one for them.
Yeah,
I got you.
So, but it was cool.
Hey, it was cool. I mean, you get to have that experience, right? I mean,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And you played with some other fellas.
Yeah,
folks,
well, and then
folks, I guess.
Yeah, throughout that, like towards the end of the Healing Sixes era, Joe Bonamassa is another guy I played with who's a great guitar player.
Right, he's amazing.
He's an amazing guitar player. He can play anything, and it's crazy. And Kevin Shirley is his producer, has been since 2004, and he plugged me in to sing on his record in 2004.
Says the guy who doesn't like singing.
Yes, exactly. And I guess we never really got back around to that. I started singing like in that band that I got in out of college, because it becomes a necessity.
Sure.
As I think most everybody, you get in a band and it's like, okay, we got to play 5 nights this week.
Right.
The singer blew his voice out in the first night,
right.
So we got to have everybody sing, And so I ended up singing, and then I had more and more people go, man, you should really sing more.
Right.
And
here's the thing with your singing voice, and we're going to hear some of this, so I think it's going to be great. But your singing voice, like, there's certain like purity to certain voices, and there's certain like gravelness to your voice has like a gravel to it or a rasp to it. But it gives it that unique, like, real tone that I like.
Thanks.
There's that tone that it just feels like this is a real guy singing. Like, this isn't perfect. This is this isn't
that's true.
This isn't like it isn't perfect. It's exactly right. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does, and I appreciate it, man.
Because there's that. Because sometimes you get these singers and they're just so clean. It's just like it's boring. I'm like. This is good stuff.
I know, not to sound like an old man, curmudgeon-y old man, but yeah, like the whole the auto-tune, like to the 9th degree thing is crazy, and to the point where kids, I think, are singing and trying to emulate auto-tune.
Right.
To be their voice without using auto-tune.
Does anybody see how crazy that is?
But I mean, there's something real about your voice, right? Thanks. And it gives it a character that I think you're not going to find in a lot of places, and you're going to find
it's authentic.
Yeah, it's authentic for sure, and distinctive, and I think it's good. So I know you might not like that, but ultimately, I think it's a good brand for you to wear.
Thank you, man. And I have come to grips with now. I'm a singer, and I do more work as a singer than a guitar player, and I'm fine with that. And that's why Jason wanted to join. He was really a huge fan of my voice, and still is, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
And Kevin Shirley as well, and Joe. And I did some background vocals for John Hiatt on a couple of John Hiatt records, and Kevin was the producer on that, and he was like, "I'm down here in Nashville working with John Hiatt, and is that where your guys' voices would be great?"
Yeah.
So
is that where you record mostly, Nashville?
No, actually, I record here in town at my
your own studio.
I'd call it a recording space. Is what I call it. But but
the technology that you can get now is
and I started like back in the late '90s. I kind of saw. Well, I'd been in a band that had a record deal with Columbia, like the whole Pipe Dream, like in '95. And
what was that band?
It was called Pod, not to be confused with POD, which is another band that actually got played on the radio back then.
Paid on Death, I believe. POD.
Is that what that stands for?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. Pod.
I don't know why these things come into my head.
Yeah, and so we got a record deal with Columbia.
Okay.
And it was like the whole Pipe Dream. They flew us out to L.A., put us up in apartments for like 3 months, and we recorded like in Rumbo Recorders, which is where Guns N' Roses recorded and Stone Temple Pilots recorded, and it was just the Pipe Dream.
Right.
And but we recorded the record, and Kevin Shirley was our producer. And that's how I met Kevin.
Okay.
And but we recorded it. It was all ready to go. We got the artwork done and everything, and then Columbia just decided to shelve it.
Really?
Just like they're just like we don't know what to do with this. It was kind of a prog rock band. you know,
prog rock.
Yeah, progressive rock, kind of like watch this, watch how fast I can play.
Okay, yeah, that was the thing.
Speed metal.
Yeah, I mean,
not quite.
I wouldn't call it speed metal. It's like if Soundgarden and Dream Theater had a baby. That's kind of what. As weird as that sounds, it's kind of what it was.
Primus,
maybe a little bit like that. Yeah, and so I mean, it just got shelved, and it sucked.
So do you get to keep the signing bonus?
No, there was no signing, but it was like no.
So seriously, you're perfect for this show. You've been assumed to be a legend for quite a while now, right? You've been dancing around the legendary status for a bit,
right?
Right?
Maybe I'll fall in.
I keep saying this is the push that'll push you over.
Thanks, man.
I know.
Let's just I'll bank on that.
We're here to help.
We're here to help. Whatever we can do.
But how did I get on that subject?
I don't know. My mind just wanders, and
I know. But anyway, that's when I kind of started. I met Kevin, and things evolved. Things went down the line.
Recording studio in your place.
That's it. Thank you. That's when that thing fell apart. I kind of saw the writing on the wall as far as home studios go.
Right.
And so I started buying like pieces of hardware, recording gear, like mic preamps and compressors and things like that I could afford, one at a time.
Right.
And so here I am, 30 years later or whatever.
And you got a full studio now.
Yeah. I got all the gear I need to do.
And now has anything happened since Healing Sixes and your now solo stuff? Is there a bunch of stuff in between? You still do cover stuff?
No, Healing Sixes split up like about 10 years ago, and I started just doing solo records.
I thought it was later than that. Did you play a little later than that? It's 20
Healing Sixes?
Yeah.
It was like 2012.
Okay, I thought it was 14, but okay.
But maybe it was.
I just read a
you
bio
right.
once. You lived it,
right?
I don't know.
You're probably right because I'm never right on dates. Everybody's like, "No,
it's
man,
the numbers thing,
that
right?
was like 20 years ago."
It's like the numbers thing. I read one thing and I think I'm knowledgeable. It's fine. I'm just trying out. So then after that, you started the solo gig, right?
Yeah.
And you put out 3 albums.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just put out the third.
Now, I also think you play all the instruments.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I play guitar on it and sing, but I had my buddy Tim Fuller on bass.
Okay.
On this most current record.
This is 3.
Yeah,
it's the third album.
The third.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
For
all those
confused.
people who are clever.
Yeah.
So the guy who doesn't like numbers.
Exactly.
His third album.
Yes.
3.
So I can count to 3.
Okay. Good.
Just stop there.
I'm good. No, you need to count to 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's how music goes, I hear.
Yes, but no, I had Tim Fuller on bass, Brian Yard, and Devin Ashley, and Wade Parrish on different tracks playing drums.
Okay.
I had Troy Kennett playing keys. He plays with Mellencamp now. And, Travis Feaster also play guitar on a handful of tracks as well.
Okay.
So
you got like a good group of guys that you bring around? And
Yeah.
So this is all solo stuff because you want to write it and do it? You didn't want to bring these guys in and have a band that you front?
Not really, man.
It's all dividing that money up, became so
right.
Don't spend all the money we gave you.
I'm making tens and tens of dollars at this.
I know, that's right.
I'm as brutal or whatever callous as it may sound. I'm done dealing with bands.
Okay,
I've been doing the band politic thing for my whole life,
right.
And so when Healing Sixes finally split up, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to put all this work into it, then I'm just going to be me.
Yeah, be you.
I mean, not to say that I don't have a band, because I do lean on these guys.
Sure,
and
I'm sure they contribute as well.
They totally do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, in the end, you get to hold it. And is Doug Henthorn
exactly not
Henthorn like Rooster Claw?
Exactly,
Henthorn,
like the bird,
right?
And a sharp,
not like Nathaniel who wrote.
No, exactly.
Hawthorne,
which.
Okay, Henthorn. I don't want to we'll put it on the screen, but for those who don't,
and there's no E at the end either. No E on the end.
No, just a hen and a thorn.
That's it. It's pretty simple.
And it's a Doug. Yeah. I'll be your Doug. I don't know. Right? No. So anyway, that works out well for you, right?
Yeah.
So you're the month of July musician for us.
Sweet.
This is awesome summer music stuff. Yeah. This is stuff you definitely want to just put on the Spotify and sit in the pool. have a drink, listen to this stuff. It's got a good Southern vibe. It's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, and also kind of like I need some whiskey at the same time.
Yeah,
it's going to be perfect.
It goes well with drinking.
No, it's good.
You know.
So what was
and whatever?
So what's your earlier, the first two albums, going through some of that stuff has more of a bluesy feel to me.
Yes,
right? It definitely has a more like blues rock feel. Right.
What were the names of those two albums?
The first solo record I did was called Cold Medicine. The second one was called the LLC.
The LLC.
And
right.
now we
this
hear
is that's your business degree coming into
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, like when Healing Sixes ended, and
you needed some cold medicine.
I needed some cold medicine. Yes. No. Like Healing Sixes was more of a rock band.
Right.
You know, and which I love.
Sure.
You know, it's like more of a hard rock band.
Okay.
But I had all this singer-songwriter stuff and like what I guess I would call more along the lines of Americana,
right,
and blues, rock and straight up blues,
rock and blues,
and so it kind of evolved, into that.
Well, like I said, that earlier stuff has like a that rock blues influence to me, and this one feels a little bit more rocky to me.
Exactly. Yes.
It has more of a rock. It's a little bit more upbeat, even though the lyrics aren't necessarily all that upbeat. Right. But like I said, the new stuff has that Leonard Skinner feel, or a lot of the piano stuff, keyboard stuff makes me think of Little Feat. You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, there's definitely some of that Southern jam rock feel to it, but it definitely has that bluesy influence. The gravitas in your voice is awesome. So it's some pretty good stuff, man. Gravitas.
Yeah, that's nice.
No, I mean,
is there pedal steel in some of those songs?
No, I mean, there's I played slide on stuff.
Okay, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
I you play the slide then?
Yeah, I enjoy playing slide, and you know, growing up listening to the Allman Brothers, you know,
there's another one that definitely sounds like
I mean,
right in there.
It's a big influence,
and this is awesome because we get an opportunity to expose some of this stuff, which, I mean, you're good. This is good stuff, man. We're going to get to hear some of it as the acoustic version, but anybody who wants to get out there on Spotify can listen to this stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's where I listen to it. I don't know. You got it on all the platforms, I'm guessing,
It's
right?
on all the streaming platforms, and of course, DougHenthorn.com is kind of my hub.
How many songs are on this album?
10.
Yep. 10. 2 of them are covers.
3 of them, actually.
3 of them?
Covers. Yeah. This is the most...
But I mean,
I've never done really covers before. Well, I did one, which is an old Robert Johnson tune on the last record. But yeah, this record, I like, okay, I'm going to do 3 covers. I did Drive by the Cars.
By the Cars, which, by the way, except that the lyrics are the same and there's some melody that's it is definitely you.
Thanks,
it definitely has you made that song your own for sure.
And that's the point. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And
so it's not like you're replicating what the Cars did by any stretch.
No.
This is Doug's version of that song.
You know,
and I think it actually gives it a melancholy tone that the original one doesn't have, which I think the lyrics play towards, and I think you do a really good job with that.
Thanks, man.
So people are going to have to listen to that for sure because I really like that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, and I was going to say
the Beatles one,
the Beatles, Across the Universe.
Across the Universe, same thing. It's obviously a Beatles song, but you put a melancholy to it that just makes it really kind of like feel the across the universe stuff, and that's the part I like about it. You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool that you can take those, and a lot of covers are just we're going to replicate what they do, but you make it your own. And we're not going to hear any of those for copyright issues, but definitely I highly recommend people go out and hit that Spotify or hit the iTunes or whatever it is and go listen to that because those are versions of songs that people will know that are going to give new meaning to what those songs mean. I think it's really awesome.
Thanks, man. And I hopefully that was, you know, what I set out to try to do is hopefully people will hear like me through, you know, because you can never replicate a cover tune and come in higher than the original. You know, you're never going to, you're always going to fail.
But you got to make it your own.
Yeah, so you got to make it your own.
And if you're doing a cover band, people expect it to make it sound like the other person. But this is you being you. You're absorbing all of that information and you're bringing it out in a new way. I think it's spectacular stuff. I think it's really cool.
Thanks, man.
Like I said, I got the hearts on my like for the Spotify for this stuff. So
I like the hearts.
And like I said, I did like 24 hours ago. I had no idea who you were, and now I'm like, this is definitely stuff. My wife put it on her list as well too.
Well, cool.
So yeah, it's definitely cool stuff. So, and some of the other songs. Give us some of the history of some of these songs on here.
Well, Set 'Em Up, Throw 'Em Back, Knock 'Em Down. That's a tune that I'll play here in a minute. Like a lot of these, actually most all of these tunes, obviously except the covers, I wrote a few years ago. I had some health issues after the first record, Cold Medicine, and then had another health scare after all that. And so I was kind of in a dark place, not to get too deep and meaningless or precious about it, and so I wrote all this material back then.
Okay.
And then it was like, yeah, this is kind of depressing and sad, and so I ended up doing the LLC instead, which is more of kind of the straight up blues record.
Right.
And then COVID hit.
Right.
And I started going back and looking at all this stuff that I'd written. You know, like everybody, I just kind of, sitting at home, what else am I going to do?
Right.
And I was like, oh, it's not that bad. I like it. And so, kind of retooled it here and there. And
coming from that, saying that you were kind of in a dark place when you wrote that, and then realizing that this has more of I don't want to say optimistic sound, but there's definitely a lighter sound to that. And yet you've taken some of the covers that are lighter sounding but have melancholy lyrics and give them more melancholy to them. It kind of finds a really good balance, because listening to these songs, in order, and then sometimes through random, they all fit. They all work.
That's good to hear.
It's kind of it's a good album, man.
Thanks,
you should be proud, man.
I am proud, and I appreciate it.
That's good stuff.
I think I did it well. I did it well.
Yeah. So. Well, I'm glad you're healthy and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And I'll record it out of your studio.
Yeah. And like I said,
which is like your garage or something.
It's my basement. It's my recording space. I have no isolation booths, no isolation at all. I just have kind of a big. My basement's kind of an L.
Right.
So the short leg is the control area, and the long leg is the recording area.
Right.
So I just
but if you have too much isolation booth and isolate some of that stuff, some of it starts to sound manufactured.
Yeah, it's sterile.
It sounds sterile and manufactured, like I said with the auto tune. And this is not that sound.
Thanks, man. And that's what I like about it.
This sounds like real rock and roll to me.
That's what I like. All the old Zeppelin and Beatles.
Yeah, but it still feels modern enough.
Well, good.
You don't have to be in your 50s to like this stuff. I mean, this is like, if you're just a fan of like clean rock and roll, right? That sounds like down home stuff. This is good.
Thanks,
this is
man.
Right
because there is a lot of bleed. There's some bleed that I think we all grew up.
Yeah.
Like I said, this with Zeppelin and the Stones and the Beatles that I get just because it's a recording area.
That's so great.
Thanks,
That's
man.
so cool. And we get to hear some of it.
Yeah.
Right
excited.
Here. So that's pretty good stuff. So we're gonna
pretty good curveball we threw you, Byron, right?
Yeah, no, I love it. No, seriously, yeah. I got a text saying, hey, our other guy canceled. We'll name him later. No, but he canceled, and we got you in this slot. This is a great curveball.
Well, thanks.
Because, I said, when Clark brought this project to me, right, and we're working on this together, one of the key factors for Clark was to support up-and-coming music. That was a big thing for us, and finding a way to do that, right, especially after the whole electronica scene at all the places, and now we're getting live music at clubs again.
Yeah.
We can come out and hear live music again. This is something that we want to support and bring that back, and this is exactly why we do this, because we get to find people that have been around, that have done stuff, are really good. We just, for some reason, I don't know how it works, we haven't heard your name before. And now that I have, I'm telling you, this people are going to really like this.
I do remember you from Silo. You played with Jason and...
Yes.
Yeah,
the songwriter thing.
Yeah, singer-songwriter.
Okay. Yeah, we've some of that stuff. So Clark's been around. I'm a little more naive to all of this.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
I don't like to go out in public and see people.
Yeah,
right. Gets a little too people-y out there. Yeah. No, I'm not just kidding. As far as you know, but so great. This is awesome, Doug.
Well, appreciate it.
This is good stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing you sing now and play the guitar.
Okay, well let's do that.
Let's do that. And again, tell everybody Spotify, Apple Tunes, iTunes, DougHenthorn.com.
DougHenthorn.com. Yes, it's on all the streaming things, and also if anyone still has a CD player, on YouTube as well.
Yep.
At the website, you can buy hard copy CDs if you like.
I watched your video for Forewarn and Failing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that song. That's great.
Thanks, man.
That's so cool.
Thanks.
The video's kind of funky edit too, with some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
it's not
it's cheap.
Yeah, no. But I mean,
made on the cheap.
But it represents that song pretty well as far as it's kind of dirty rock and roll and with that nostalgic vibe to it. So
cool.
I like it.
Cool.
All right. Well, good to have you on, Clark. We're going to move back.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. It's real good stuff.
Let's check out some of the music.
So we're going to do one of these super cool transitions.
Let's do that.
I don't know. And then we'll get you in there playing.
Okay.
Good to have you on, man.
Thanks again.
Yeah, this first tune is something off of my first solo record called Simple Plan. I used to play in a band, a house gig that was 4 or 5 nights a week in Muncie at this watering hole. And the doorman was in love with one of the server girls there, and she was bad news. And but he didn't know that. You know, I'm up here playing, and I can just see this is going to end badly. Anyway, so that's what this tune's kind of about.
In the morning you call like a farewell to all, with a ring another wedding day. Always thought you would come to see the dogs and they're done. Well, one day their heads would lay. When he runs, will you come? Had a simple plan, but it's not a simple man. You could find with a dance another death wish romance. Never saw though you wipe your with every dog you put down, 7 more come around. And shook a grin and left no man behind. When he runs, will you come undone? You had a simple plan, but at night take a photo if you want, send it off with the special font so people must believe it's true. You got a plan he won't hide, neither be the fool inside of you. Why's it raining so long? Seems for August it's wrong. Never saw the water set so high. You said to burn house down to the embers hit ground, and the flames they never dry your eye. When he runs, will you come? Had a simple plan, but it's not a simple man.
There's that one. Here's an old Healing Sixes song that I redid on my first solo record called That's All Right.
somebody, never wanted someone. Then you came, that's so funny, and the moment is gone. It's 4 in the morning, I got a song. It goes on, but that's alright. That's alright. Don't you change for somebody, make a fool out of me. You got some bones in the closet, you get some bags in the deal. It's 4 in the morning, you can't sleep till you weep, baby, that's alright. That's alright. There's gonna be bumps and bones in the road. Stay in the shadows, you're gonna get cold. Get what you want, baby, you gotta be bold. It's 4 in the morning, you can't sleep till you weep, baby, that's alright. That's alright, yeah, yeah. It's 4 in the morning, I got a song. It goes on and on and on, on and on, on and on and on.
There's that one. Cool. One more. Is that cool? This is the first track on my new record called Set 'Em Up, Throw 'Em Back, Knock 'Em Down. Just kind of wrote it in a dark point in my life, but really like it now. So here we go.
Found a way to make it out of town. Gonna break, friends are all around. And so we'll see the bed and all our plans. There'll be all the hearts of the hands. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Recall a scene when I was just a lad. There was a tree to see throughout the land. I found a girl, accept me any way I can. But like a road flare, can't put out the flame. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, I can't let these drunken dreams alone. Felt the sun reaching out a hand, not a care for the weak, not worry about the band. So I say adieu, we'll keep it on the slide. You'll never ever be down with people that keep you high. Set 'em up and throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Could a friend take me on? I can't let these drunken alone. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Can a friend take me home tonight? Can a friend take me home tonight? Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down. Set 'em up, throw 'em back, knock 'em down.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm Doug Henthorn, DougHenthorn.com. Appreciate it.